Hey guys, Rozo here, back with another video for you. Today's video is going to be a commentary and some tips and tricks for the whole raid as a Demonology Warlock. I went through the raid today, we did our re-clear in Heroic, and I played Demonology on every boss. I recorded all the fights, and I want to go back and tell you kind of step by step what I'm thinking, so hopefully you can learn some things about Demonology too. I'm just learning this myself, actually, this spec. So there are plenty of mistakes I've made, and I'll point those out to you. So hopefully you can see the mistakes I've made and learn from them yourself. So for Demonology, each boss had a bit of a different talent setup. So before each boss, I'll go over the talents and tell you what I changed and like why I changed them. So anyways, let's get started. And I guess one more thing before I start is all the clips from this video are taken from my live stream on my Twitch or YouTube channel. I've been streaming Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern when my guild does our raids. I'm still new to it. It's quite fun. If you have any questions, the best time to ask me is when I'm live. Right? I can respond instantly. But because these are taken from my live stream, you might hear some background audio of me talking. So if I have something important to say about the kill, I will pause the video and I'll talk this way. You don't hear two of me talking at once. But we'll go ahead and get it started here. Let me turn it. So for Demonology, when you start the pull, one thing to look out for is, depending on what weak aura you have or how you see your stuff, you're going to want to make sure that you have 2 imps up at the beginning of the pull. So I have 2 imps here, right? You can see my weak aura. We're going to use the ability here, Power Siphon, at the beginning of the pull. What this does is it sacrifices one of your imps to give you a charge of an instant Demon Bolt. When you press Demon Bolt, you get 2 soul shards. Why you want to use this when you have 2 imps is you'll get 2 charges, right? When you're ramping, you just get an extra 2 soul shards for free. Really awesome. So the Power Siphon buff lasts quite a while. You could use this a couple seconds before pull, like 7, 8, 10 seconds before pull, if you need to, and then you'll be fine. But make sure you try and get 2 imps Power Siphon before pull, if possible. You'll see I used it on pull. That's fine. Doesn't matter. What I want to do in my opener is I want to get to 5 soul shards. Then I'm going to press the Grimoire Fell card. And then I'm going to use my Vile Fiend dog next. And then I'm going to spend soul shards and generate soul shards with Shadow Bolt and Demon Bolts. And spam Hand of Gul'dan. I'm going to want to shoot my dogs, the Fellhounds. But I want to get a proc to shoot them instantly for free, because that'll make my opener much faster. It'll save me some soul shards too. You'll see I keep spinning and generating, trying to get a proc for instant dogs. But I give up because I don't want to waste too much time. And then we go ahead and start doing damage. So at the beginning of the video, I said I was learning Demonology. And there's plenty of mistakes I make. Just there in the opener, I made a big mistake there. Let me go back to it real quick. So, on the opener, I saved my Ruination proc, because I didn't know in our talents. Let me pull them up here. In your talents, if you are a Diabolist, Ruination will give you 3 wild imps. I didn't know that. So, going into it, I wanted to not press this button because I didn't want to waste my time and have imps despawn, because I didn't know Ruination also gave you imps. It's quite a big thing for me to not have known, but I'd like you to know it. So that way, if you're having an opener and you get a Ruination proc, I go ahead and send it if you have time, because it will give you imps. So I generated less imps than I should have in my opener because I didn't know about that interaction. So sorry, let's go back. You can watch the opener. And in the bottom left too, you'll see that I have my DCD tracker. You can see when I cast abilities. And how Demonology works, you pretty much, the entire time you're playing, you're just building up for your Tyrant. So your Vile Fiend has a 30-second cooldown, and your small dogs have a 20-second cooldown, and Tyrant is a 1-minute cooldown. So for each Tyrant, you can have 1 Vile Fiend in between, and you can have 2 sets of your small dogs in between. and your third set of dogs, and your second Vile Fiend will go into your next Tyrant. You'll see here that I have Tyrant up in 15 seconds. I went ahead and used my dogs beforehand because they have a short cooldown, that's fine. My Vile Fiend will be up in 5 seconds. It has a 14 or 15 second duration, I think. What I'm going to do is I'm going to want to build up soul shards here and to get ready. If I get any Demon Bolt procs, I'm going to want to save those as well. That way I can ramp into my Tyrant without having to like spam too many Shadow Bolts for it. I'm moving. I'll go ahead and using Imps because I have so many shards because of my procs. Normally my ramp would have been faster, but I had a mechanic I had to deal with, so kinda got it delayed here. That's okay. And I did use my cooldowns going into the next phase because I don't think trying to get my Tyrant cast out when the small ads are up is all that effective. The ads are going to die way too fast, so it wasn't my priority to get the Tyrant out during the ads. I wanted to hit the boss with it, get my Tyrant on cooldown, so that way when the boss comes back up, I'll be able to Tyrant him again and kill him. Sorry, didn't mean to pause. One thing to note here as well, you'll see that when I have my procs of Demonic Core, I can shoot Demon Bolt for free. The talent I'm using the Doom talent here. Right, whenever I use Demon Bolt that's instant cast, it puts Doom on the target. But I can put Doom on a bunch of targets. So even though, like, there's a bunch of small ads, I can just put Doom on each of them by shooting a Demonic Core at each of the ads when they come up. I can spread this debuff out on a bunch of mobs. You'll see in the video that I keep targeting the same mobs and pressing Demon Bolt on them instead. If you want to like really min-max your damage, there's multiple mobs. You can Demon Bolt one, tab target, Demon Bolt another, tab target, Demon Bolt another, and they get the Doom debuff that'll blow up on them when they die. And then, you know, if you get lucky, you can get some imps, or you'll get like a Doom Guard that spawns as well. So it's definitely much better to try and spread out your Doom debuffs on multiple enemies if there's the opportunity, instead of putting them all on one target. I didn't realize that, so that's something else I learned today. You'll see that I went ahead and I fed the boss the food here, and I see that he's generating his energy really fast. So I go ahead and stop and start ramping my Tyrant because I know I don't have a lot of time to do damage to the boss. I see the meat was mostly gone, and I know he's gonna get full, so I go ahead and start ramping. And I drop my Tyrant. It only has 11 imps, which is not the best, but it's okay. I go ahead and send all my cooldowns. And I'm just doing as much damage as possible before the boss dies. There we go, just like that. Boss is dead. I do a decent amount of damage while still learning the spec. Let's go to the next boss. Okay, next up is the Bloodbound Horror. You'll see for my talents on this boss, I actually went pure single target. This time, I'm not even using the red dog. I'm using the blue dog, because I just want to pump damage into the boss. I'll tab target the ads, and maybe I'll drop handle cooldowns on them and use Implosion. But to be honest, going into this boss, I didn't really have a good plan of what I wanted to do on cleaving the ads. So I figured my damage would be best used just single targeting the boss, and like I said, hand of cooldown or implosioning the ads, and then focusing the rest of my damage into the boss. They don't live long enough for me to actually use AoE talents to cleave the ads. Maybe in Mythic you can, but in Heroic the ads die too fast, so we're just going to go pure single target, 100% single target. Just implosion the boss, the ads, that's about it. So, video here. Sorry about that. One thing to note about this video is that my group, normally I'm on the blue side, so normally I'm down first with the ads. This time I'm going down second, so I'm not with the ads first, which means I will use my cooldowns on pull. Normally, if you're with the ads first, you save your cooldowns for like 20 seconds, delay them, use them on the ads immediately. This time, I'm not going down, so I just use my cooldowns on pull on the boss. That's definitely one big difference for me. Normally, I'm on that side, so. Man, I just said that 5 times. So, like in the previous one, I make sure I use my power siphon on 2 imps to get extra demonic core charges and get more soul shards. And then I just go into the same rotation. That time I messed up and I used my Vile Fiend before Grimoire Felguard. That's okay. There I go again using my Tyrant before using Ruination. So I missed out on 3 imps and damage. Whatever. Since on Demonology, you need to kind of stand still to cast, I'm trying to stay farther right, so I'm near the edge of the beam. So if I can spend less time running around the beam, it's better for me. I wanted to try and do a demonic circle and stay behind the beam there, but people near me had beams, and I was trying to cast, so I just ended up running instead. Now we're going to go ahead and go down. So I've got some imps. I'm just going to implosion them. I'll send my dogs in, but it's like, I thought they died too quickly, so it doesn't matter. What you can do there, like I mentioned on Ulgraxx, is if you have the charges for the instant cast Demon Bolts, right there I got saved for the Evoker. I didn't Gateway. For the ads, if you have instant charges of the Demon Bolt, you can Demon Bolt those ads, because the talent says, when Doom expires, right? It says, sorry, after 20 seconds or when removed. So when the mob dies, Doom is removed, so you have the chance of spawning the Doom Guard as well. So even if the ad only has like 5 HP, you can shoot a proc into it, and if it dies, maybe you'll get the Doom Guard to spawn, which would be pretty. And yeah, the boss is just being obliterated in just under 2 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and get out, then we'll go back in. I can ramp up my Tyrant one more time, and just send it into the boss to kill him. I will say though, if you're going down first, or maybe your group's damage is a bit lacking on the ads, maybe you can spec more into AoE and save your cooldowns and focus on the ads. But as Demonology, I personally feel like it's better to go down second. It feels nicer this way. Actually, I don't know. Maybe going down first, you can ramp before the explosion. That sends you down, and then you can just have everything ready as soon as you go down and kill the ads. I'm not sure. It's my first time playing Demo in this fight. But there it is, just like that. Alright, next boss, Sikran. Surprise, surprise. My talents this time were pure single target. The same ones I used on Bloodbound Horror. I just want to be able to pump just the single target boss and just keep attacking him. So, the Blue Hound, none of the AoE talents, then Grimoire Felguard. And we just, do the mechanics as best as we can, attack the boss. Talents are just same as the previous. Going into it, pretty much same as always. I'm going to want to use Power Siphon when I have 2 imps. I could have done it there, but I'm going to wait until like right at pull. I have 2 imps, Power Siphon, I have 2 charges, and they last 20 seconds. You can do this quite a while before pull too, if you have to. Try and always get 2 charges if you can. I've said it every time, sorry. I'll quit reiterating that. Go ahead and do the same opener. Use Grimoire Felguard, then your Vile Fiend. Try and get to full shards, wait for a proc for your dogs, and then send the dogs. Spam hand the Gul'dans. There I go again, using Ruination after Tyrant, when I could use it beforehand. I probably do that every single time. And that's about it. You're really just cycling your cooldowns to get back to your Tyrant, and then ramp for the Tyrant, Cinder Demons again. You're going to want to Cinder Demons on cooldown as well. I have Vile Fiend coming up here. I should use it right now. I did, good. And then when my dogs come up, I send my dogs on cooldown. And there we go, just like that. Then my dogs on cooldown again. They'll be up before the next Tyrant, so I can go ahead and ramp. I have Power Slapping coming up here. I should save it. I said I use it, I think because I got a mechanic and I'm kind of a bit stressed about doing the mechanic correctly. I went ahead and used it. But it's okay, I'll go ahead and start ramping here. I have my File Fiend out. I'm generating more soul shards, looking for a proc to get instant cast dogs. I don't get it, so I go ahead and cast it. But I get the mechanic, which is really unlucky. I get greedy, but I'm able to do the mechanic. Definitely, I think you should move first and then do the cast afterwards. But I'd really put everything into getting that ramp off, so. There we go. We're back to just doing our normal cooldowns. And since it is heroic, the boss dies really fast. In Mythic, the boss lasts about twice as long. Maybe even more. He probably dies at about 2 minutes here. In Mythic, he dies at like 5 minutes-ish. Definitely one thing, too, when it comes to improving as the Diabolist Demonology spec, is learning to play around the procs of your hero talents. So the big tyrant, right, he gives you 3 amps. The giant lady demon, he makes your next shadow bolt give you 3 shards back. And then the overlord, he does a big AoE. And then when that AoEs people, it makes them take increased damage from you and your pets for like 15 seconds. Alright, so now we're on Rasha'nan. Rasha'nan has ads that spawn, but when you look at like Warcraft logs, they don't actually count towards your parse. And besides that, in Heroic, the ads die really fast anyways. You could maybe implosion them, but building around DPSing them is pointless, in my opinion. So for this boss, I just went single target talents. The same I went on Sikran. Same talents, single target. I got Grimoire Felguard, and I got the Blue Dog, I got the Doom Guards, and I'm just, single targeting the boss. With the group comp we have, with the Warriors and the Monk, DKs, Demon Hunters, the ads get cleaved instantly, so there's no point in me trying to kill them. So I'm not stressing about it. So let me go ahead and get this started. Like I said, we're just single targeting the boss, so our rotation is going to be the same as it is on Sikran pretty much. Before the pull started, I used Power Siphon to get 2 charges of Demonic Core. I've said it every pull, sorry. And also in this boss, you can put the gateway here and here to make it easier for your raid group to get around the boss in the intermission. What you do is walk around the edge of the room, walk along this line back here, and shoot the portal from the back to the front. And that way, when the intermission starts, you can just teleport. If you have 2 warlocks, I recommend doing this. If it's just you, then don't worry about it. Let's go ahead. No, dude. Oh my god. One more thing I should note, that putting your demonic circle somewhere is a good idea. What we can do is we can put our demonic circle here, kind of near the middle. So that way, if you get the web, you can run out with the web, and then teleport back immediately. Or you can put your demonic circle in the back. That way, if you get targeted with the web, you can teleport out and keep DPSing while the web explodes. It makes more sense to have your web in the middle. You can run out and teleport back in, because when the web is on you, you run slower. But the problem is, in Mythic, if you break the web too early, you'll do a bunch of raid-wide damage that's like really hard to heal. Even though you lose more uptime by having to run out of the slow, I think having your portal in the back to teleport out is better practice for Mythic. So I recommend having your portal in the back. Hello, thanks for the follow, Ulgraxx. I was getting some follows on my stream. I was pretty happy about it. So there's my normal opener, pop my potion, start doing the spin, the improved Fellstorm on my pet. And now we're just hitting the boss. This boss dies pretty quickly in Heroic, and the boss will not teleport. The boss will fly away at about 1 minute and 15, 1 minute and 20 seconds. Pretty much right whenever your second tyrant is out. What I think you should do, and I did some comparing on logs before the pull, what I saw other warlocks do is that they sent their tyrant on cooldown, and they got as much damage out of it as possible. Because the boss dies so quickly, if you hold the tyrant until the boss moves to the back of the room, you won't get like an extra use out of it. So it's better to use it now and get 70% of a use out of it, You have to hold it for 30 seconds and just only get one more use. If that makes sense. You get 70 use now, 70% now, and then 100% later, compared to 100% right after this. I put it there, and then I got like 12 seconds. The boss leaves in like 3. So he probably gets off like maybe 1 or 2 more shots, and then he's back there chilling. My other demons caught up though, and they're still buffed by him, so it really is pretty effective using a tyrant there. Even if it feels like it's not doing much, it's helping some. While I was running there, I went ahead, took a second to stop, and used my Vile Fiend to get it on cooldown, because I wanted to line up with Tyrant better. And since I used my Tyrant before we ran, it'll be off cooldown here soon, and then I can just go ahead and do my 2 minutes and Spy Mash's Web, and just hit the boss with everything one more time. The Power Siphon's coming up. I'll use this in my ramp to get more soul shards. And I start the ramp here. I'm fishing for an instant cast proc on my dogs. I'm not getting it. And I did that in the complete opposite order. I did that really backwards. That's crazy. When you ramp the Tyrant, you're supposed to go Grimoire Felguard, Vile Fiend Dogs. But that time I went Vile Fiend Dogs, Felguard. You can see the durations are really scuffed here. But it's okay. I got my cooldowns off. And we'll be able to do plenty of damage to the boss. Even if it's backwards. You can see the ads on the left. All the melee are just destroying the ads. I'm just hitting the boss. If I go to implosion them, I lose so much damage to the boss, and they're gonna die instantly anyways. It's not worth it. In Mythic, it's different. In Mythic, if your group can't kill the ads, feel free to help. But in Heroic, probably don't matter. And here, I'm just using my instant cast demon bolts, and my implosions to do damage to the boss as she dies. And yeah, that's it. So the next boss is Broodtwister, and for this boss, I'm obviously gonna go some AoE talents, right? This time, I did go with the AoE cleave on my dogs, right? The Dreadstalkers. When you send the dogs in with this talent, their Dread Bite hits everybody within 8 yards and does damage. This synergizes with this talent here. So when they cast Dread Bite, enemies hit by it take 20% increased damage from me and my abilities for 20 seconds. So I send the dogs in, they bite everyone, all of them take 20% increased damage, and then I use my, implosion or hand of Gul'dan or something, and I cleave them a lot harder. Which one is it? Here, this talent also stacks with it. So this makes them take 20% increased damage. This increases it by an additional 20%. So I send the dogs in, they bite everyone, they take 20% damage, and then also 20% more damage. So the dogs make you do so much damage to ads. So having your dogs cleave the ads is really important. Alongside that, I have the red dog here. He's going to be AoEing when he melees. And I'm not speccing into the Doomguard. Doomguard is really nice, but the thing with Doomguard is that he just single targets his bolts. So while you have a chance to spawn a bunch of them, while putting Doom on a bunch of ads, it's just better to spec in some other things instead. I put points into... Compared to the previous boss, I put points here and here. So Imp Gang boss, he just is a bigger imp. When you implosion, it does more damage. Makes sense? This? Sorry. And then this one here, my Dreadstalkers do more damage while Vile Fiend's active. If they're cleaving all the ads with this, they're doing more damage. This guy's up. It's just a big party of doing a bunch of increased AoE damage. Alright, now that I've talked about the talents, the video here, I pretty much play this fight the same way I played the previous fights before. One thing to note is that if you have your Pit Lord proc through Ruination coming up, you could hold that for when some ads spawn. You'll see I do that a couple times in the fight. But if you have to hold it too long, it's kind of painful. You'll see there I opened up with the Vile Fiend. I'm spending shards on my thing, trying to get a proc for dogs. I got a proc for dogs for free. And I'm just trying to get my Tyrant out. I go ahead and pop my cooldowns on pool. I don't wanna wait and hold them for when the ads spawn. They die pretty quick, so I'm just trying to do what I can. do as much damage on the boss. When the ads spawn, I'll try and deal with them separately. But right now I'm just doing my damage. You see, I'm trying to look where the ads are going to spawn at, which eggs we're popping. Pop these 3 in melee. It's going to be one of the casters and 2 small ones. I'm just spamming Hand of Gul'dans, and I send an implosion as well when the ads get melee of each other. You can see my dogs here too. They've cleaved these 2 and the boss, so all 3 of these are taking increased shadow damage from me. The caster ad was too far, so it didn't get cleaved with that ability. But imagine this cleave on all of the small ads that spawn from this egg, right? Then you can AoE them all at once, you'll be doing a bunch of damage. To make sure that when you're going into ads, you need to have your dogs up as well. It's probably best if you can send your dogs in right as the ads are spawning, so that you can guarantee it cleaves them all at once, so they all have the damage the entire time they're up. Now we're just waiting for the next egg pop here. The next egg pop, I know we have 2 of the big spiders and then a bunch of the small ads and a caster, which is nice. I see I have my Overlord coming up here soon. Sorry, I have my Pit Lord right now. I'm waiting for the ads to spawn before I send my Pit Lord. I know that they're going to spawn in probably like 2 or 3 seconds. I'm waiting for them to spawn, and then I'll go ahead and send my Pit Lord here through Ruination to do a bunch of damage to the boss and the ads. So I think I send my dogs first. No, I don't. I send the Ruination instead. I'm worried the ads are going to die. But it turns out for me, unluckily, somebody popped this egg instead of the small ads. So I didn't get to Ruination the ads like I wanted to. Maybe only 2 ads instead of 8. So I saved it for a long time for pretty much no reason. But you can't help that, it's whatever. See, I have my Pit Lord again in 8 seconds. Probably 3 or 4. We're not going to have the containers popping for another probably 10 seconds, so I just send the Pit Lord on cooldown. No, I don't actually. I build soul shards, and then I save it. It's a long time to wait, but I guess I'm committed to it. I know that I can be the one to pop this, so I'm going to go ahead and spawn my small dogs here. From my big dog, then I send my small dogs. Spawn my Tyrant, he can do damage, and then I hit these ads here with Implosion and the Ruination. Take as much damage as possible in these ads. My dog spit a few of them. Some of them took increased damage, but not all of them. And then I just go back to hitting the boss here. You can see I popped up pretty high in the damage there because I had my cooldowns up, and I was able to do decent damage to the small ads. But as I'm still learning this spec, there's definitely a lot to be improved on. I could have used my Demonic Core procs to send these Doom Bolts into a bunch of the ads, so when they die, they blow up and give me the extra damage from Doom and can spawn imps. But I wasn't doing that. I just kept sending them into the boss instead, just because I wanted to generate shards, not because I wanted to use the full effect of Doom. I didn't really know the full effectiveness of Doom before, until after raid, so I probably should have done a bit more research before the raid. Now we have the ads coming in about 5 seconds. I have my Tyrant coming up. I'm going to go ahead and try and get my Tyrant ramped and sent, so when the ads spawn, I can go ahead and cleave them. One thing about Demonology that's really important too is that using your improved Fellstorm for your pet, Demonic Strength, you're generally going to want to save that for Tyrant. You use Tyrant, that increases all of your pet's damage by a good amount, and then you Demonic Strength immediately afterwards. Your pet is spinning and doing a bunch of damage while he's empowered. That makes his Fellstorm hit harder, and the Tyrant makes him hit harder. You can see I cast one into the other. So it's just a recipe for a bunch of damage. And then again, I got unlucky. We didn't pop this set of eggs a second time. I saved my stuff to go on these, add the Ruination, and then again, this one doesn't get popped. So I'm kind of sad, but it's like whatever. We're killing what we can kill. But the markers didn't have that one marked to go for, so it's like no big deal. I think because we knew we were just going to kill it quickly, we just wanted to get the ones that were close to the edge, not necessarily clear out each group. So I'm just going to single target the boss and kill him. I don't think these ads spawn in time. Maybe they do. I'm just going to hold it again. We're just going to go crazy with it. I just go ahead and send my... No, I don't. I start running the mechanic. Do I really hold the Pit Lord? I do. Wow. I'm greedy. That's crazy. I held the Pit Lord to kill these ads with it. I implosion them, and then the boss dies. I probably should have sent the Pit Lord sooner. I think I would have done more damage if I just sent it on cooldown and spammed abilities. But I was holding my hand of cooldown a bit too long to try and get the most value with that. That's something you gotta keep in mind as well. Holding your Ruination proc to hit ads is really good if they're gonna be up soon. But if it's gonna take too long for them to spawn and for you to kill them, then you're just kind of wasting your damage for no reason. So try and keep that in mind, like how long it's gonna be till the ads spawn, you know, if you're gonna hold it or if you're not gonna hold it. Okay, so the next boss, Nexus-Princess Ky'veza, is a pure single target boss. So naturally, I go back to the pure single target talents. I run Grimoire Felguard. I've got the blue dog for the, you know, more single target damage. And then I brought back the Doom Guard as well from Doom. And I got rid of some of the AoE talents that I don't necessarily need on this boss. So you'll see this video. It's a bit of a different cast and crew here. During my guild skill, we were trying a different strat, and I was a bit distracted, so I didn't hear them say that. So I died, and I don't want to show you a video of me on the floor the entire time. So I went back to the raid and recorded it with a different group. This one here, I wasn't quite prepared. I was trying to open the recording software for the kill, so I wasn't paying attention. So I use my power siphon here, only on one imp, so I get one charge, which kind of sets back my ramp a little bit. I got a proc on pull, which is lucky for the instant cast dogs, so I'm not like searching for it. So I'll go ahead and do the Felguard, and then Vile Fiend, dogs, blah blah blah. Same opener I showed you earlier. With this, I don't mind holding my dogs a little while, because I can see that the proc still had, you know, still has like 10 seconds, right? These dogs aren't up for, these don't despawn for another 10 or 11 seconds. And then this one, it lasts for 12 seconds. So I think it's fine to hold it a little bit. But if you hold it too long, you're going to desync your cooldowns later. So I held my dogs for a little bit to try and get as much value as possible out of my imps. You can see that was a horrible idea. I only got 7 imps in my ramp, so actually don't do what I did. Just send it, and then just spam your and the cooldowns after. Even when going back and watching my footage back, I'm seeing some mistakes I made, so. Here, unluckily, I get the mechanic, so I just kind of run out of the group with it. And yeah, we're just doing our single target rotation. Doing the rotation and dealing with the mechanics. See, my Tyrant spawns, and I have Tyrant cooldown up in 20. So I will go ahead and get ready on my soul shards and get ready to ramp. I have Power Siphon coming up. I'm going to save it for the ramp. I got to go ahead and use it. I'll start generating some soul shards, and then I'll start the ramp. Vile Fiend, dogs, and a Gul'dan spam to get some imps. And then we go into the boss. This time I actually use Ruination, finally. And we're just hitting the boss. There's not much to say on this boss, because I said everything pretty much on Sikran. You're just single targeting, trying to do rotation without dying. I think I actually end up dying in this kill though. I get greedy trying to cast something, and I don't move and I die. Kind of a theme of this whole day, actually. I just send my dogs on cooldown. I got instant proc, which makes it lucky for me. And yeah, what's crazy is you have so many imps going, and because of your talents, your imps are generally your top damage on single target. They hit so hard, and there's just so many of them shooting all the time. It's pretty awesome to watch. So I have an instant cast for dogs here. I'm saving it for my ramp. I send the Felguards and the Vile Fiends. I'm gonna start spawning some imps, the dogs, and then we're gonna go ahead and just do a bit more dogs, a bit more imps. And that's a pretty good ramp. It was supposed to be 13. I ended with 10. That took a second too long, but that's okay. I went ahead and I sent my 2-minute cooldowns, but I was a bit late on them, so it was really awkward timing. I sent Spymaster's Web, but because I was focused on the mechanic, my cooldowns were a bit desynced. I sent my Spymaster's and cooldown I mean, Spy Master's and Rage a little bit too late. But here, I have the bomb is blowing up on me. These webs, not the webs, sorry, the lines are blowing up on me. And then this line from across the map is barely touching my character, but I'm in the line here. You'll see that here is 0.00. I blow up from my thing, and then the line from across the room hits me at the same time, and I die. Luckily, I soulstone myself at the beginning of the pull, and luckily I used Spy Master's Web before I died, because I would have lost all the stacks. I think I died as I still had the buff, so I lost some value for sure, but, you know, okay. I told you there's plenty of mistakes I'm making in this video, so you can learn from me. Don't greed for your casts on this fight, or if you're going to greed, at least use your offensives. And then we're just back to single targeting the boss again. So I have my Tyrant in 5, so I'm going to go ahead and start ramping. Use the Vile Fiend, get some soul shards back, dogs, hand to Gul'dan. And I send the Tyrant here. So I have about 10 imps. The more imps you have, the better going into your Tyrant. But depending on your haste, depending on doing mechanics, you know, it's kind of hard to get like the max imps. You can get up all the way to like 13 or 15 in like the perfect scenario. Obviously I didn't have that most of these, so I had like 10. One thing you'll see me do here is that if I have a cast coming, I can stay in the blue area and finish my cast because I know how long it takes for the blue area to change. But generally, as soon as the pie slice happens, I just move over to the next area. So I can, like in between casts, I'll move over. You'll see that I have my Felguard up right now. My other cooldown's coming up soon. We'll start building up soul shards and getting ready for it. Here, I know that my cooldowns are coming up soon, but I used Power Siphon anyways. Power Siphon is a 30-second cooldown. Generally, you should save every other Power Siphon to go with your Tyrant. I used mine for some reason, so I'm going to have less like free shard gen going into my Tyrant. Try and keep in mind that you should save the Power Siphon for your ramp. But I got lucky. I got a dog proc, which is nice. So I can go ahead and try and send everything before I get pulled into the room here. Not bad. That one was 13. Pretty good. 13 imps while doing the mechanic is, yeah, pretty good. And I just really am getting unlucky this entire time. I'm out of range of the boss here during my cooldowns, so I can't hit. Luckily as Demo, I guess, my cooldowns are my imps doing damage, and my Tyrant doing damage, but still felt pretty bad. I go ahead and finish my cast and the beam. Bit greedy. That guy drops the bombs right on me, the orbs. Luckily I'm in a Spirit Link and I'm kind of tanky, so I don't take any damage. My cooldowns are back up. I can try and ramp one more time, but the boss is only at 5%. I go ahead and try and send it through the mechanics. It's only a 7 imp Tyrant, but I just send what I can. And then just kind of do what damage I can before she dies. There you go, just like that. That's how it goes. This boss, just like Sikran, you're just trying to do your irritation as best as possible without dying. I died, so don't do that. Alright, so next we've got Silken Court. You'll see here that it's a different group. In my guild raid, there was a problem. I went to try and soak a web. I burning rushed over there, but we couldn't get it in time. I was low HP from burning rushing and popping the web, and the boss charged the wall and killed me, so I was dead the entire time. I don't want to show you floor POV, so I went out to a different pug, recorded this boss. And for this boss, I chose like a set of cleave talents, and these cleave talents are a bit different than the ones I've used earlier. They incorporate single target and AoE. On pure single target, I've been using Grimoire Felguard, and on Bloodbound Horror, I also used Grimoire Felguard because I kind of wanted to just focus the main boss. The ads spawn on that fight, but the ads don't last a long time, so it's not a big deal. On this fight, though, it's permanent cleave, but you're really focusing, like you're targeting one boss. You kind of want the best of both worlds. So for that reason, I'm going to use the AoE Dreadlash, so my dogs cleave everybody nearby. And I'm going to use the red dog here. The red dog, he's going to cleave, he's going to hit both of them if they're nearby. And those 3 little scarabs that spawn too, I'll be cleaving those. But then I'll also have like the Doom Guard. So, like I said, this was just kind of a pug I joined at 3 a.m. So a 3 a.m. pug, you'll see for sure. So since I don't have Gormor Felguard, I would do my normal rotation. I pop my cooldowns on pull. I set up my Tyrant. Pretty good. And what I could do here, that the ads are spawning in a couple seconds. Tyrant lasts for 13, 14 seconds, I think. So what I could do is I could save my empowered Fellstorm for my pet for when the ads come up and go into melee. I just kind of send it immediately. But after your ramp will generally end right about when these ads spawn on this fight. So what I've learned for next time for myself, maybe what you'll do next time, is that you can save this empowered Fellstorm like 2 or 3 seconds so these ads can go to melee and get stacked up. We have 3 DKs, so they should get gripped instantly. And you can empowered Fellstorm all 5 targets instead. I get lucky with my Ruination proc, but of course I send it right before the grips. I go ahead and send an Implosion as well. My ramped up imps. Pretty big Implosion, does a lot of damage. Pretty much one-shots all the scarabs. And in this group, I'm not doing the web breaks, so I can just kind of freely DPS. And now I just want to make sure I'm targeting a Nerub-ar to see as the damage increase. See here, I kind of made a mistake. For this guy and his web, what I see on my screen is that I just had the Lady Demon. Right, I've got her buff right now. It makes my Shadow Bolt do a bunch of damage and give me soul shards. And I see I have Pit Lord soon. What I do in the video is I just spam get soul shards, and I spam soul shards on Hand of Gul'dan to try and get the Pit Lord, because I want the Ruination proc to hit him while he's stunned, because it does a bunch of damage, and he takes extra damage while he's stunned. But it just doesn't work out. I don't have enough time to get all my soul shards, and then I delay my dogs. Looking back in hindsight, I should have just not done this. I should have just played normally, because by the time I get it off, he's out, and then my dogs are desynced. So you'll see that my Tyrant's up in 14, and then my Vile Fiend's up in 7. So now at this point, I already missed the window to use my dogs, so I should hold them. But then I'm kind of freaking out because I missed it, so I send my dogs late, and that delays everything. So while it is nice to do a bunch of damage, you know, in the window, don't try and overforce it like that, because you're really just going to screw yourself over. So now I have to hold my Vile Fiend for 20 extra seconds, when I could have held my dogs for an extra like 10. But like, whatever. Now I know it's okay. If I had ramped, I could have used my empowered Fellstorm on this set here, these ads, but I didn't. So now I'm just behind where I could be. So those scarabs, they spawn about 20 seconds into the fight, and then they spawn about a minute later. So if you save your Fellstorm for the first set of ads, a minute later, when the second set of ads spawns, you'll have your Fellstorm again for those ads. So if you ramp correctly, you should be able to use your empowered Fellstorm on the ads and both bosses twice in a row when it's off cooldown. I didn't do that, and I really messed up. I could have done a lot more damage. Like I was saying, if I line up my cooldowns correctly, I can improve Fellstorm on the ads and the bosses, and it's great. And then right here during this intermission, your 2-minute cooldowns will come back up. You line them up correctly. So here I can go ahead and get ready to ramp. I should have saved Power Siphon, so I can have procs going into this to get extra soul shards. But from the start, I'm just playing this terribly. Even though I played it terribly, I still have a good Tyrant with 12 or 13 imps, which is nice. And it just helps kind of bleed through her shield. In my head, I'm trying to make sure I remember which order these blow up in, so I don't stand in the one that's going to blow up. And I got unlucky. I didn't get a proc for my dogs there, so I have to cast them manually. And while I was casting those dogs, I saw that I had the Pit Lord proc up soon, and I knew the big guy was coming up soon. So I'm gonna not cast Hand of Gul'dan, because this will proc the next time I spend a Soul Shard. If I don't send Hand of Gul'dan, I'll wait till the boss comes up, and then when the boss comes up, then I spend Hand of Gul'dan. Alright, it won't proc unless I spend a Soul Shard on Hand of Gul'dan. I can spend Soul Shards on the dogs, and it won't proc this thing here, the Hero Talent. That procs from Hand of Gul'dan Soul Shards. Yeah, I get the drop on both the bosses, which is nice. I have ads coming up here in a second, but I gotta make sure I get out of the boss. I got lucky with an instant proc on my dogs. So every mob here has it, has the debuff. Stack them up, and I can just try and do as much damage as possible. I target the ad to send Implosion. See, the ads are between the two bosses. If I target the left boss here, she's in the middle, and the explosion might not hit the boss on the right. So I want to make sure that I can hit them all. There, I send in my dogs. I want to make sure that my dogs go in before I send the Ruination, and I'm about to ramp it anyways. Dog puts the debuff on both of them. Then I Tyrant, and then I drop my Ruination. I hit them both for a lot of damage, while the boss is also stunned. So the skinny one's taking increased damage too, which is very nice. And kind of learning to play around these Diabolist procs is really what's going to improve your DPS in this spec. That and just hitting the target dummy for a long time and just practicing ramping up for this Tyrant effectively. That's the best ways to improve this spec. Sorry, I'm still talking. You'll see that I dropped my Demonic Circle here. This Web Vortex is the next cast coming up. Web Vortex is where the skinny one will teleport you to them. Because I have my Demonic Circle here, I can teleport back to where I was standing when the skinny one pulls us away. See, so as mid-pull, I teleport back, and I just keep DPSing. Like this. My tether breaks, and then we're chilling. I'm going back to DPSing. In my head, I'm hoping the DKs will stack these mobs for me, and they kind of do it, but not really. So I just send my stuff as best as I can, AoE them. This is pretty unlucky. I get hit by this. That was pretty sad. I should have ran left, but I ran right to get closer to the group. Now we're just kind of waiting on the dispels to go. I can do extra damage. I'll send my Tyrant. I send all my cooldowns by Master's Web and do as much damage to her while she's stunned as possible. I also want to do those before the intermission, so I can cleave on both targets with my cooldowns up. And I'm able to cleave on them for quite a while, but I end up having maybe 5 seconds of cooldowns left over while while one goes down. So if I didn't mess up my cooldowns earlier in the fight, I could have had all 20 seconds of my cooldowns on both of them. But because I got out of cycle and messed up, I had 5 seconds only on one target instead of 20 on both. If that makes sense. I had 15 on both instead of 20. There we go. Wow. I can't speak English. So now we're just doing damage. And you'll see people getting spiked. And this is pretty soon is where the fight gets a bit crazy. You can tell it's a 3 AM pug here soon. But I can see that I've got Pit Lord coming up soon. I got my ramp coming up soon. So I want to go ahead and just start getting my dogs up and stuff on the boss and get my Tyrant out. That way when the skinny one comes back up, I can put them both together with this and do damage to them, just like that. And I'll summon my Tyrant, pop my potion, Spymaster's Web again, even though Spymaster's Web has like no stacks. And just do as much damage as possible on these two while they're stacked together. Well, I've died a bit randomly. And here, she's going to pull us in, we'll get webs, and then we're supposed to block his charge. I teleport out, because he's assigned people to do the webs, so I'm like, whatever, not my job, I don't care. And then I see here that nobody has a web. So I know for a fact that we're going to get the charge and take a bunch of damage. So I preemptively go stand near the group, and then I go ahead and pop my health potion, my health stone, and my wall. I know we're about to get clapped. A few people already died. A few people have already died in the intermission. And this guy's low, 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 this guy's low. They're all gonna die when the boss hits. So, yeah. Now we just kind of have to kill the boss with, like, 10 people in a 22-person raid. But that's okay. I saw it coming, so I was able to defensive. And we just kind of make it work. Unfortunately, they're not stacked super tight, so my dog debuff wasn't stacking on them. My hand of Gul'dans aren't necessarily proccing on both of them, which really is kind of sad. There we go. See, they moved it a little bit. Now I'm okay. And I see the frontal, but I just kind of stand in it because I want to cast, because he's about dead. So there we go. That's Silken Court. Takeaways from that fight. You're going to want to use your empowered Fellstorm at about 20 seconds with your ramp, and then immediately, a minute later, you can use it again on the second set of ads. Okay, and the last boss, Queen Ansurek. This boss has a bunch of ads in it, and while it is single target, the important damage is single target, there's a lot of ads, and I wanted to be able to cleave them when I could. Our group has a lot of AoE, Windwalker, Monk, Warrior, DK, 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 Demon Hunter. I still wanted to do AoE, so my talent setup was the same from Silken Court, with the cleave talents. So I had the AoE Dreadstalker bites, and then I had the Red Dog. So I could do a lot of damage in the intermission to all the small ads and the shield ads when they're stacked up, and the ads in phase 3, so I can do extra damage to all of them. That's why I went this build. And one thing that's cool about this fight is while I was still kind of learning, I ended up getting the rank 3 demo parse for this boss. So this talent setup works for sure if you can actually do damage to ads in phase 3. I'm still learning, and I got rank 3, so maybe if one of you is a pro at this spec, you can beat this no problem. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the video. So, like I always do on this boss, before the pull starts, I like to go ahead and put my demonic circle on the ground over here. We'll start here, we'll cast, she'll put the green stuff on the floor, and as she casts the green stuff, we'll teleport here without losing up time. And we'll go ahead and start. You can see I have 2 demonic war procs from using Power Siphon on 2 imps. And we're just doing the same ramp we always do. Alright, we get our shards up. I'm holding the dogs for a really long time. I definitely should have sent the dogs sooner. Okay, I send my cooldowns, and then we're just going to go ahead and go. I don't get the bomb, which is nice. I need to stack on him, though, fortunately. So I'm going to get bounced, but that's okay. No, whatever. I could save my tyrant for the webs, but I don't care that much. We're just doing damage. I make sure I get out of this. I don't want to take extra damage for no reason. I dodged the wave that I couldn't see, and then I got hit by the wave I could see. So it's kind of funny. But here soon, we're going to run, and then the boss is going to web everybody. So I have my dogs on the boss. The dogs are going to bite her and cleave the webs. And then I've got a bunch of imps here I can implosion. So I try and time my Hand of Gul'dan to hit the boss as the ads spawn. You can see it doing damage. And you can see my dogs bit and cleaved all of these webs. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 extra targets cleaved with the extra damage from those talents. Like 40% shadow damage. And then I'm about to implosion the boss and blow up on all these ads. So it's about to be a bunch of damage in an instant, which is really nice. But you can see my group obliterated them, so I couldn't do more than, more than that. And what's kind of unfortunate for me is that I had the Ruination very soon as well. If I had Ruination a couple seconds earlier, I would have done infinitely more damage. Except not infinitely, but a lot. Here I sent my Tyrant, but I'm saving my Empowered Spin, so that way when the webs spawn, I can use it on the webs. So we're going to liquefy, we run away, and then the webs spawn. Problem is my Tyrant's already despawned though, so I think I should have sent this earlier, but that's okay. I Ruination, Implosion, and the webs are all dead, so I can't even use my Powered Spin. So I think it's a bit greedy, now that I'm looking back on it, to save my spin for the webs. I can use it here, but I've held it for so long I kind of just wasted like so much of its use. It does a lot of damage though. We got one more set of explosions, and then she's going to phase. But the thing is, she's at 38% right now, and she phases at 35%. So these bombs, we're going to skip these entirely. Like, she phases here before they blow up. So we did a lot of damage insanely fast. I go ahead and send my Tyrant into the boss, and I'm just trying to do as much damage as possible. I also go ahead and send my Spymaster's Web here, because I want to have it set up later, but I don't want to have it sitting at full stacks for a long time unnecessarily. So I send it here about 2.5, 3 minutes into the fight. No, about 2 minutes into the fight. So I can have it up at about 6 minutes into the fight later at full stacks. We're hitting the boss. You need to make sure you break her shield by the 3rd time she pulls you in. We're way over DPSing it, so it happens with plenty of time to spare. I'm looking for my side, find it over there. And I just go ahead and send my demons at the boss. I got pretty unlucky, it kept spawning on me, and then I get hit by this one here, interrupt my casting, and then I stand right next to that guy. That guy has the bomb, and then back behind me to my left, another one comes through, and it's just like really annoying. All the orbs, I got kind of unlucky with those. That's okay. So here I have my Tyrant. I think I send my Tyrant here just to get it on cooldown. I'm not sure the best time to use Tyrant in phase 2, to be honest with you. On the second platform up there, I don't think you have time to actually use it. Just kidding, I don't send it here. I thought I did. Actually, you can't hear my voice in the stream very well, but I end up saying I'm saving my Tyrant for the next platform. I forget how that goes, so we're going to see together. I go ahead and click these. I should drop a gateway up to top. Yeah, so I can start getting ready and ramping. So I power Siphon to get soul shards. I send my Vile Fiend. I send my dogs. I drop the Demonic Circle. Get pulled in. Teleport back. Don't teleport back. Okay. So there. Nice. Let me go back over it slowly one more time. So, when I get up here, it's unlucky my dog proc wears off right as I get here. I should have sent my dogs immediately. They're instant and cost nothing. I get up here. Power Siphon to get shards. I build shards. I Vile Fiend. I send my dogs. The pull happens, then I Tyrant, then I Empowered Fellstorm, and then I send Ruination, in that order. And it gives me a lot of damage on all of these ads and the mob at once. Right now I'm doing 1.1 million DPS. We'll see how much I do at the end of this. Then Fellstorm while I'm moving. You can cast it while moving. I'm going to cast. And then, yeah, so I just increased my DPS by over 200k. Oh, so saving Tyrant for this platform isn't a bad idea. Especially if you get a Ruination proc. Nice. I'm learning as I'm talking to you guys about it. So now, I can't reach the ad back there yet, so I'm just sending damage onto these small ads here. Make sure I get out of this. With these ads here, they die pretty quick, so I'm sending just maybe 1 or 2 handed Guldans, and then using my Implosion on them. If you try and send too many, the ads are going to die before you can Implosion them, so I just kind of send, like I said, 1 or 2 Implosions. Sorry, 1 or 2 handed Guldans, and then Implosion. Here, the Evokers help me out for a moment, but then the raid's like, no, we're going this way. And I'm like, oh. So we go left, and then actually we're supposed to go right, so we kind of walk back. The awkward walk of shame. Here, I go ahead and use my cooldowns. I want to save my big cooldowns for the next set of ads. Yeah, there's Tyrant. So late, I want to make sure I run over here. I'm going to do a bunch of damage to these ads when they spawn. I have my 1 minute cooldown, extra damage like spin from my Felguard, and then I have the Pit Lord as well. So I send my dogs and Pit Lord at the same time. I should have sent the dogs first, just to make sure that the debuff is guaranteed on them. And then I Implosion them as well. I did so much talking over that. The ads spawn, right? I'm going to have my dogs. I have the improved Felguard spin, and then I have Handed Dance and Ruination. Move out of the stuff. I get hit by it. I almost die. That's crazy. I should have moved sooner. Ads spawn. I'm going to shoot dogs and Handed Dance at the same time. Then I Implosion them. I Implosion them a bit too late, actually. I missed a lot of damage. Should have Implosioned sooner, because half of them were dead when I pressed it. Oh, I actually don't press the improved Elgard spin. That's crazy. I must have just been not paying attention. Here, I'm just trying to make sure I'm not in the portal. So, yeah, I'm just kind of running away from that, trying to hide. And here, I know that I have my cooldowns and everything saved for the last set of ads. So I'm just going to try and build up and not die and start getting ready to ramp. My Tyrant's up in 6. I'm going to run over here, get max soul shards. I have my dog proc, so my dog is instant. And then I'm just going to go ahead and just ramp as much as possible. I could have been lucky though, because the Tyrant, or not the Tyrant, the Ruination proc happens. So I just send my Tyrant immediately without it, and I spam Shadow Bolts. And I hold my proc for a long time, because I want to proc it on these ads with my cooldowns. So I pop my Potion and Spy Master's Web, and then I pop my Ruination there, and Implosion. I'll be honest, I'm not sure how worth it that was. And then I send Implosion before I send my dogs. That was really backwards. I send the improved spin on the boss. I played that really bad, actually. Oh. Then we're back to it. Our damage is good enough that we can ignore these ads on the right. We just kill the boss. And there we go, just like that. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for the video. Thanks for watching. Like I mentioned earlier, I made quite a few mistakes in this video. Hopefully you saw them, and you try not to imitate those mistakes. I feel like I have a bit more to learn about this spec before I make a full rotation guide, but that's something I want to do here soon. Maybe this week or next week, that's something I can have out for you. A rotation guide, how to play the spec, but we'll see. Anyways, until then, I'll see you next time.